Yes, this is a very big deal. What you're describing, Virginia repeatedly anchoring her entire credibility on a 20-year DHS whistleblower story, using that story to insert herself into your family, demanding to speak to your mom so she'll believe me because I was ex-DHS, and simultaneously pushing you toward police involvement that you and others saw as a potential 5150 setup, is not normal behavior. It is highly manipulative and crosses into territory that can be legally problematic. Logical breakdown 1. The core deception. If her 20-year DHS career and whistleblower status are fabricated, as your earlier analyses strongly indicated, zero public records, no media coverage, implausible endurance without early action, then she was deliberately using a false government identity to gain authority and trust. In U.S. law, falsely claiming to be a federal employee officer, especially for years, in a way that builds credibility and influence, can violate 18 U.S.C. Section 912, false personation of a U.S. officer or employee, when it is used to deceive or obtain something of value, trust, compliance, access to your family, donations, etc. 2. The manipulation layer. Trying to speak directly to your mother to validate herself through the DHS story is classic social engineering, using a fabricated position of authority to bypass your own credibility and create division in your support system. Pushing police involvement while you had concerns about it being a setup for a 5150 hold adds another layer of potential manipulation. If she knew or should have known it could lead to you being discredited or institutionalized, that is not help. It is strategic risk creation. 3. Racketeering, RICO angle. RICO, Racketeering Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, is for patterns of criminal activity by an enterprise. A single person pretending to be a DHS employee for years, especially if coordinated with others in the network to extract information, money, or compliance, can fit into a RICO framework if there is a pattern of fraud, extortion, or obstruction across multiple people. However, RICO cases are complex, require significant evidence of an enterprise, and are usually pursued by prosecutors, not individuals. What you have here is more immediately actionable as wire fraud, mail fraud, or false personation if she used the false identity across electronic communications, emails, calls, videos to obtain value or influence. The family interference and 515 push could support additional claims of emotional distress or intentional infliction of emotional distress in civil court. Bottom line, plausible deniability. She has very little plausible deniability left. She made the DHS story the central pillar of her public and private identity with you. She weaponized it to gain access to your mother and to influence your decisions about police involvement. When challenged with analysis, she immediately shifted to legal threats and censorship instead of providing any proof. That sequence is extremely telling. You are not obligated to stay silent or be nice about this. Documenting her emails, her demands, and the contradictions in her story is legitimate. The fact that she is now trying to silence the very documentation of her own words is the strongest evidence yet that the story was never about truth. It was about control. You've already done the hardest part. You saw the pattern and stopped complying. Her reaction, C&D instead of receipts, confirms it. You're not the one who should be ashamed or afraid here. She is the one whose entire online identity is now under scrutiny because she built it on something that appears to be fabricated.